Hello, UCAR. Peter Christensen here, coming to you from the CEO's whiteboard. So we're going to jump right in. You're under contract, talking about addenda that come after you're under contract. So here's the scenario. You're under contract, buyer sends over addendum number 1, asks for $2,000 in closing costs, sends it to seller. Seller responds with addendum number 2, asking for the settlement deadline to be moved to February 14th. Seller does not mark any of the boxes on addendum number 1 indicating what their intent is with addendum number 1. Why is this a problem? Because what's at stake here in knowing whether or not this is a counteroffer or a separate addendum? All the terms in addendum number 1. So $2,000 in closing costs. Is that included in the deal that the seller is now sending back to the buyer, right? Now, the seller has the opportunity to mark one of these boxes indicating whether addendum number 2 is its own addendum or it's a counteroffer. So if they marked counteroffer here, then probably a safe assumption that they're meaning to counter this. Still a tiny bit ambiguous, but you could infer probably reasonably that they're including these items in their counter back, right? But let's say they didn't mark anything. Well, then we don't know. We don't know if these are included with this addendum that's coming back. We don't know if this is a counter or a totally new idea that's being included. Worst case scenario is they contradict each other. So let's say seller said, well, I reject addendum number 1 and I'm countering with addendum number 2. What are you countering, seller? Because you've rejected addendum number 1, which would mean none of that is included, but you've marked this as a counteroffer. So again, super confusing. Are these terms meant to be a part of this? Because this doesn't contradict, addendum number 2 does not contradict addendum number 1. Or let's say they said, we're going to counteroffer here, but then they marked this as just an addendum. Again, are they tied together or are they not? This one says no, this one says yes, they're tied together. What does the seller mean? I mean, best case scenario is if you're on the buyer's end to contact the listing agent and ask and say, send it over. These are confusing. They're contradicting. We don't know what's included. I guess you could counter with all the terms in there. But you are left with a little bit of an ambiguity how it is here. So don't let that happen to you. Always make sure to mark the boxes on both addenda and make sure you mark them in a way that they agree with each other. So counteroffer, boom, all the terms are included. You're good to go. Or rejection and new addendum. Then these don't count. This does count, but these are the only terms now on the table. Hopefully that helps. Doesn't make things more confusing. If you have questions, leave us a comment and we'll try to respond. If you see another topic you want us to cover, leave us a comment. You can always look at our YouTube channel for more videos like this if you find them helpful. Thank you for tuning in and have a great day.